Hello everyone. Let's go through problem number 2, which will enable us to apply various transformations to all the items within a list. I have an example list L, which contains 3 string object instances as items. We are going to come up with a function called apply underscore to underscore each, which will enable us to apply a specific transformation function to all the items within the original list. The detailed pseudocode for this function is provided to you. Whenever you come up with a function, you need to think about the input and the output associated with that particular function. The input is going to be 2 arguments. Argument number 1 is going to be list object reference to which we want to apply the transformation. Argument number 2 is going to be reference to the transformation function object. Output from this function is going to be new list reference to the transformed object. Let's follow the provided pseudocode steps to come up with the definition for apply underscore to underscore each function. I'm going to define my first parameter as original underscore L and second parameter as F. For now, let me call the print function to display original underscore L. I'll be invoking apply underscore to underscore each function by passing L as the first argument and the integer function object reference int as the second argument because we want to apply the int transformation function to all the items within L. Let me run the function invocation cell. Observe that we are getting the original list as such. Step number 1 says initialize a new empty list. I'm going to define a variable called new underscore vals and initialize it to an empty list by specifying open square bracket, close square bracket. Step 2 says process each item in input list. Clearly we need a for loop here. So I'm going to say for val in original underscore L. For now, let me call the print function to display val. Running the function definition and invocation cells again, observe that we are able to get each item within a single line here. Why are we not seeing the double quotations? That's because the print function call formats the string and only displays the contents of the string for us. Let's move on to step 3, which says apply the function passed as second parameter, which is f here. I'll have to say f open parenthesis close parenthesis and pass val as argument to the transformation function f. Let me print the return value from the transformation function call, and I'm going to execute the function definition and invocation cells again. We are not going to see any difference in the output. That's because the print function call displays the same value for an integer and for a string as well. Let's move on to step 4. Step 4 says add the transformed item into output list. Recall that you'll have to use the append method call to insert a new item into the list new underscore vals here. We want to be able to insert whatever is the transformed value. So I'm going to pass as argument to the append method call f of val function call here. Let me go through step 5, which is asking us to return output list here. Be very careful. Your return statement level of indentation should be the same level of indentation as your for keyword here. And I'm going to return new underscore vals. Let me run the function definition cell again. Before I run the function invocation cell, I'm going to call the print function to display the original list L here. Observe that we started with a list of strings, and after the transformation function application, we have a list of integers. Let's move on to strip underscore dollar function. Input to this function is going to be a string object instance. Let me define the function parameter as s here. For now, I'm going to call the print function to display s. Output from the function is going to be a transformed string value. What exactly is this function doing? It is going to check whether the input string begins with a dollar. If so, we want to remove that particular dollar. So let me invoke the strip underscore dollar function by passing string 123 as argument. For now, we are going to get the same output. What string method do you think will be helpful for us to check whether the input string begins with a dollar? We'll have to use the starts with method. Recall that the syntax for method call is sequence variable name, which is s here, dot the method name, which is starts with, and we are going to pass to starts with method an argument, which is going to be the string dollar here. We want to check whether the input string s is starting with a dollar. So I'm going to write this particular method call as part of if condition here. I don't have to say if the method call equal to true. That is automatically implied within this if condition. When we say if of this particular method call, s dot starts with method call is going to return a value of true only if the input string s begins with the dollar here. Otherwise, it's going to return false. So your if condition evaluation will happen accordingly. Within the if condition here, what do we want to do? We want to be able to remove the dollar. Recall that slicing enables you to do that. Syntax for slicing is sequence variable name, and within the square brackets you're going to mention start of the slice colon end of the slice. What is going to be the start here? We want to eliminate the dollar at index position 0, so start is going to be index position 1. After the colon, I don't have to mention an end because I want all the characters until the end of the string sequence. Recall that whenever you're slicing, you'll be creating a brand new object instance. Recall that string object instances are immutable, so there is no way for you to transform the original string object instance. So it is pretty evident that the slicing operation here returns a brand new string object instance. Let's capture that and update the reference within the variable s here. We need to then return s. We have to be very careful to align the return statement with the if keyword here. Why is that important? If the return statement were tab aligned within the if block of code, then you'll be returning a string value only if the input string s starts with a dollar, and in all other cases you're going to return the default value from this function, which is none. That's not what you want here. You want to be able to return the original string if it does not contain dollar at the beginning of the string. So your return keyword here should be in the same level of indent as the if keyword. So let me go ahead and run this current cell. Observe that we are getting 1, 2, 3 as the output. What if I remove the dollar and try the input string as 5, 6? The output from the function is going to be string 5, 6. The next markup cell is asking you to apply strip underscore dollar function and then apply int function. We are provided a list of string instances. Observe that some of the string items contain dollar at the beginning and one of them does not. So let's invoke the apply underscore to underscore each function, pass L as the first argument, and we are going to pass strip underscore dollar as the second argument. Let me capture the return value into a variable vals here. Observe that we are getting a list of strings where the dollar sign is stripped off. How can we apply the int function transformation? We'll have to call the apply underscore to underscore each function again. This time I'm going to pass vals as the first argument and int as the second argument. Observe that we are able to end up with a list of integer values. How can we use this particular function object reference application to apply a method reference to a list of items here? Let's say that I have a list L which contains 3 string items as AAA, BBB, CCC. Let's do a quick recap of upper method. Recall that upper method is applicable only to string sequences. So I'll have to say L of 0 here, first of all, to extract the string sequence. Then I'm going to say dot upper open parenthesis close parenthesis. That's going to transform this particular string object instance into all upper cases. That's what the upper method does. Recall that there is one more way of invoking the upper method. You can say str.upper and pass L of 0 as argument. That's going to produce the exact same output. We are going to use this way to call the apply underscore to underscore each function. So my first argument is going to be list L. Then the second argument is going to be str.upper reference to the method. So that's going to enable us to transform all the list items into upper cases. I'm going to briefly talk about the map function. In next lecture, we'll learn more about map function when we start our discussion on the topic of generator functions. Map function pretty much enables you to do whatever we did with the apply underscore to underscore each function. The syntax that you need to follow for map function invocation is to specify map, and the first argument is going to be the transformation function, which is int, and the second argument is going to be the list object reference, which is L here. If I run the current version of the cell, that's going to display a generator object instance. For now, you just need to know that you can use the list function call to typecast the generator object instance into a list. Observe that we are able to end up with a list of integer values here. I'll wrap up this video here. In the next video, we are going to discuss the second application for function object references, which is sorting.